Hi there, Janet Fritzer for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to another Off the Board. This series we do the last Wednesday of every month, and we take inspiration from Pinterest pins. And so I used this pin, which I thought was kind of cool. It looks like a really cool craft idea, but I translated that into my own scrapbooking layout by using some black paper, which I cut about a little bit narrower than 1/4 of an inch wide. And I cut several strips of black paper. So that's what I'm doing there. You can't really see it on the screen, but you can see the strips as they are coming out. And I'm not really concerned with the length of them, although this piece of paper, they're all kind of similarly lengthed. But I am making sure they are the same width. And then I am just going to take some glue and I'm going to start creating triangles. And I'm not being super conscientious about the actual shape of the triangle, other than that it is a triangle. So some will be very narrow at one end, some will be have right angles, some will not. I'm sure, like, if you study math, you know there's lots of different types of triangles. I don't remember what they're all called because it's been a long time since I took that math class. But yeah, I am just creating a whole bunch of different triangles. And the one thing I am kind of being sure about is that there is room in the center of the triangle, so that I'm going to be able to put some strips of paper in there to represent the different colors that were on the inspiration piece. So in the top left hand corner there, you can see I have a vase, and that has a whole bunch of branding strips in it. So this is the perfect kind of layout to do if you've got branding strips that you want to use. It doesn't really use up as many as you might think, but it does use up a few. And in fact, I actually cut my branding strips in half lengthwise, and you're going to see that a little bit later, to make them about 1/4 of an inch wide as well. So it really does help having the black strips a little bit longer than I need them, so that I can just cut the edges off and make sure that everything kind of has like a nice point on it, because I don't want my triangles to not have a point on one edge or something to that effect. So my thought is I'm going to do a band down the center, or down the side of the layout, kind of not really center but not really on the edge, kind of maybe 2/3 of the way over, one way or the other. And so I want to make sure I can span an entire 12 inches with the number of triangles that I have. So that's why I'm kind of like laying them out on my desk, because I have that grid on the back of my desk there, or on the background on my desk, and I can kind of see, do I have enough to actually go 12 whole inches? And at this point I thought I did, but I didn't really. So you're going to see I'm going to make an additional one a little later, just because I wanted them actually to be a little bit closer together, and not have so much white space pardon me, in between them. So I had this one branding strip from Coco Vanilla's Legendary with that yellow on it, and so they don't have like a full branding strip full of color. They just have like a little strip on it that looks like it's got the pattern, and so I just cut that pattern out to bring in that bright yellow color. And then I pulled out some other branding strips that have a variety of colors. I want blues, greens, yellows, and orange. I'm not super concerned with like pink, purple, or red, but I do want quite a few colors on there, and I want those colors to carry throughout all of the triangles. They don't necessarily have to be in the same order in the triangles. So you'll see that some of them have gaps. I actually left the yellow out of one of them, I believe, at first, and I ended up adding it because I thought I wouldn't have enough yellow, but then I did. Pardon me. And so you'll see that I don't use like that strip I just put in is to the right or to the left of the yellow, and then on the third one down, well, yeah, on the third one down, it's to the right of the yellow. I'm not really concerned with that as long as all of the colors are represented. So, and then I kind of got them mixed up in how I wanted them laid. And so I don't know, I kind of played with it and fiddled around with it for a little while I was adding these strips. Now I did speed this process up quite a bit because it took me quite a bit of time to go ahead and do this. You probably could have been a little faster maybe if I had put some ATG on the back of those black strips instead of using the liquid glue, but the liquid glue actually went really fast in all things considered because it didn't take very long to actually have it adhere enough for me to just set it down. And I don't know if you can see in the upper right hand corner, there's a little bit of a flashing there. That's because I was actually watching something on my iPad while I was doing it. So it's a great task to do while you're watching TV. And it doesn't require a lot of brain power. It just requires a little bit of time. So I really do like the way that this looks when it's all said and done. It's really kind of a cool look, I feel. And like I said, you can use a lot of different color. And I wish it would have used a few more branding strips up, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I have a ton of branding strips. Someday they'll get used, I'm sure, someday. That's something we all tell ourselves, right? And maybe you don't save your branding strips, and kudos to you if you don't, but for some reason I feel like I need to. But, and putting them in a vase has worked really well. It's a tall vase that's kind of heavy, so it holds them very well, and it just sits at the very top of my desk, so it's not really in the way. Okay, I'm just about finished doing this, and I actually am not even really sure what photo I'm going to use as I'm doing this, and so that's another reason using a lot of different colors is kind of not a bad idea, because it can match pretty much any photograph that you might have. If I thought I was doing this for a more feminine look, I would probably go with pinks and purples as well. But I didn't think I was going to use it for a photo of Noah. At the end of the day, I changed my mind and I actually used a picture of my son. So that worked as well. So I had this photo here. I was just kind of marking it out for space. That's like Noah's little nook that I have a photograph of, but I'm not going to actually use this photograph on it. I'm just using it for the spacing until I decide what photograph I actually want to use. And so I'm going to go ahead and adhere these down in a vertical band. And I am liking how it's coming together. But then I did realize, like I said, that I do want to add another triangle because there's kind of that weird gap at the top of the photo. And so I went ahead and just created another triangle to go ahead and fill in that space. So I didn't make you sit through watching me create another triangle because you've already seen me create the 6 that are on the page. But here is that last triangle that I wanted to go ahead and add. And the interesting thing about this layout is at this point, you could flip it any direction you want. There's no right or wrong side to it at this point. And so that makes it kind of versatile. And I did end up cutting a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch from 2 sides. So I have a little bit more than 1/8 of an inch all the way around the layout. And I think that looks nice because those triangles that are all the way to the very edge meet up with the black paper and then the black around the triangle. It looks really good. Now there were a couple of spots that had a little bit extra glue on them. I just went ahead and rubbed that off. It wasn't really super apparent, but it was kind of a stalling tactic for me while I tried to figure out what else I was going to do. So I used my photograph that I had as a template, and I just cut a black photo mat because I knew I was going to do that. And then I decided to go ahead and create the kind of a haphazard strip of borders on the right hand side to kind of balance out. Now I'm not using every paper that I used in the middle of those triangles. I am just using a green one, and then I'm going to use one that has several of the colors represented. And I think I end up using 3 plus a black strip. And at this point, I don't know if I'm going to keep it in the direction that it's in, or if I'm going to flip it all the way over. I do know that my photograph is going to be in the landscape position, so this strip that I am creating off to the side is either going to be on the far right or the far left of the layout, and that works for me. You could actually switch it so that everything, like the photograph, was vertical and have that strip at the top or the bottom. It wouldn't make any difference. And at this point, I could have easily changed my mind. But I had an idea at this point of what photo I wanted. I just wasn't 100% sure. My apologies for the dinging, as somebody has messaged me. Okay, so at this point, I also do know that I want to add a little bit of black over to this strip because there is quite a bit of black on the right-hand side, and so I wanted to balance that out with the left-hand side. Now, as you see, I went ahead and flipped the whole thing so that those vertical strips are on the right-hand side. And I have this photo of my son. He is laying across the top of his Jeep, which it actually is a hammock that goes on the roll bar. It's not, he's not laying on the top of the Jeep like the actual Jeep top. It is a hammock. So he's just laying on it in our driveway, checking it out, something he had gotten and he wanted to try out. And he thought it would be kind of cool. And so I just snapped a picture of him, and that's pretty much all I'm talking about in this layout. It's nothing like super earth-shattering or anything. It's just, he thought this would be kind of a cool thing to take with him when he goes camping or four-wheeling. It's a great place to get up off the ground and away from things. But I don't know how much time he actually does spend in that hammock, but it's a kind of a cool option to be able to have. So I pulled out some Cocoa Vanilla, Boys Rule. I pulled out a couple other collections, some stuff from Legendary, and I can't remember what the other one was. Anyway, it was 3 different Cocoa Vanilla collections that I had some leftover bits of. And so the stickers that say Totally Awesome are off of Boys Rule. I believe the one that says King of the World is from Legendary, but I'm not 100% sure on that. And then these stars are also from Boys Rule, and I am just taking those across the layout horizontally. So essentially we've kind of got this cross design going on this layout, but I actually like the way it looks. It's not something that I do really often, and I think it looks kind of cool. So I'm really liking it. And I'm just going to add some foam dots to the back of these stars and go ahead and adhere those down. While I do that, I will remind you this is a monthly hop that we do. And so there are a bunch of other awesome creative people playing along. All of their links can be found down below in my description box. So go and check them out. And again, we're using Pinterest pins as inspiration. So you never know what you're going to get, which is really kind of cool. Because, you don't necessarily have to be inspired by another scrapbooking pin. Like today, I am inspired by a children's craft. Actually, that one was a weaved, those were weaved triangles, so I'm not even sure it was a children's craft, but they do actually have multiple. I had pulled multiple pins that were very similar, and one was a children's craft where you make those triangles with the wood and then you use yarn and wrap it around. So you can be inspired by a whole bunch of different things, and I think it's kind of fun because you get some totally different ideas in your album. So lots of fun to do that. I am going to go ahead and add a little bit of green to this layout. I added this little green paint strip. I don't know that it's called a paint strip. It's like a swatch of paint, but it's on a clear sticker. And then that's all the way above where it says King of the World. And so in order to balance that out, I added these 2 green stars over in the Totally Awesome area, which is my title. And then this little tab at the top. And I think it looks kind of cool. I'm not going to do a whole bunch more. I'm just going to add some splatter. And I added it above the title because the title to me looked a little lower than the King of the World. And so I'm just kind of bringing it across. It's just, I don't know, balancing it out. So I used my dilutions in lime green and in, I think it's called black marble. Just wiping a little bit off of the photo there, and I can do that easily because I just printed that on my selfie printer, and it allows you to be able to put it in water or whatever you need to do to clean it off. It's very forgiving. Just added a few lines with my T-square ruler and a pencil, and I'm going to do a little bit of journaling, not a whole lot, just talking about his hammock and his Jeep and how he really likes to go exploring in it and that kind of stuff. And so that pretty much is it. I hope you enjoyed this layout. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave those down below. I will get back to you as quickly as I can. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to go and check out everyone else who's playing along. Again, the links are in the description box. If you don't mind giving me a thumbs up, I'd really, really appreciate it. And if you're not already subscribed, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel as well. And if you are subscribed, thank you for subscribing, and thank you guys for spending time with me today. I do appreciate it, and I will see you guys again real soon. Bye-bye.